25th of June 2020. Worldwide cases of COVID-19 approaching 10 million. Worldwide deaths attributed to COVID-19 approaching 500,000. Daily cases still on the rise. There seems to be no real end in sight for this problem. And for the airline industry and for Qantas, it's become very real today.
Qantas is going to be placed a trading hold as a result of the information that's just been released. They have confirmed that 6,000 jobs will go. Most of those losses will be ground and cabin crew. And in a statement, Alan Joyce has called it a day where people have been spent decades here at the company. It's not unusual that several members of one family have worked and spent their entire time at Qantas and Jetstar. What makes this even harder is that right before this crisis hit, we were actively recruiting, we were gearing up for Project Sunrise, we were getting ready to buy planes, and now we're facing a sudden reversal of fortune that is no one's fault, but is very hard to accept. The problem is, on top of those 6,000 job losses, which represents 20% of Qantas's workforce, there will be, separate to the job losses, 15,000 people who will remain stood down at Qantas and Jetstar for some time. People who, Alan Joyce says, will now have to find work for the rest of the year.
Qantas confirming 6,000 jobs will go from its workforce, 15,000 will remain stood down. It's talking about grounding 12 A380s for most of the rest of their useful life, which is a significant decision for the airline to have to make. We're seeing Alan Joyce put out this statement this morning saying this is the biggest crisis the industry has ever had to face.
All the Qantas staff received a letter which detailed a 3-year plan to get the company back on its feet, to be the right size, to restructure and to refinance, meaning 20% or 6,000 of our people would go. 100 aircraft grounded. The Jumbo retired, the A380 in storage indefinitely.
But we are and will have to make 6,000 people redundant. These are jobs that will not exist. We'll be a smaller airline for some time and the jobs just will not come back. Best effort is going to be to have voluntary redundancies and only do compulsory redundancies where they're needed. To be honest, there will have to be compulsory redundancies. We don't believe we can sort this with voluntary redundancies everywhere. And we're better off making the tough decisions early and making sure that this business is set up for success for the future. And that's what we've done for the last decade. That's why we're the best positioned airline in the globe. That's why the redundancies we're talking about today are not as severe as what other airlines are doing. We know people will go through difficult periods with this, particularly over the next few months. We have talked a lot about making sure you manage your mental health and making sure you manage your health. We have a lot of support for people and you know it's available to you. Please use that support if you need it. We want to get through this with the safety of all of our people, the safety of all of our customers. You know it's our top priority and we ask you if you need it to avail of those resources and talk to people.
Hi, Adam Hemmings with your news briefing. The Prime Minister has described the decision by Qantas to axe 6,000 jobs as heartbreaking, while it may not resume international flights until mid-next year. 15,000 employees remain stood down. Scott Morrison says the COVID pandemic is having a devastating impact.
They're very hard days, and our strength and our togetherness is tested on almost
Morning YouTube. It's a gorgeous morning, check that out. Well, it's about 6:42 here in Perth. We're on Bay 12 here. Dan's a great FO and myself, we're about to fly up to Darwin and back for the day. So once again, we're going to need a good to go pass to re-enter the state. The passenger load's pretty interesting. We've got about 16 going up and about 20 coming back. But nice day out, clear conditions the whole way around. I think we've got some light showers as we arrive back here about 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock this evening. It's a sad day, mate. Yesterday, 6,000 people, it was announced, are going to be sacked from the airline. And I totally get that the company has to take firm measures and early in order to deal with this, but it really makes it real, doesn't it? This is where this COVID-19 stuff really starts to bite. If you're in any way heading down that path, please get in contact with somebody. At the end of every single one of my videos, there is a point of contact. You can write to me on Gmail. I'll answer your call anytime. If you're in Qantas, I'll pick up the phone. So will every single one of the pilots that I know. Please look after yourself. And if you know someone that you think might just be headed down that way, please, please call them. You are not alone. You are not alone. None of us are alone. This is when it's going to get real. Let's look after each other. Heath, good morning.
There you go.
What's your job here in Qantas, mate?
I'm an engineer, aircraft maintenance engineer.
Beautiful.
We look after the aircraft here, keep them shipshape.
And what's that odd-looking red book in your hand there?
That is the aircraft technical log.
Right. Sounds important.
All the details of what is and isn't wrong with the aircraft.
Righto, nice. So for our non-pilots, how is it possible that something could be wrong with an aircraft and yet it still flies? What goes on there?
Long story short, there's a lot of stuff on an aircraft that is redundant.
Yes.
There's multiple systems that do the same thing.
Yep.
And the aircraft is more than safe to fly with one or two or three or four of them.
Yep.
And this book tells us what we can and can't fly with.
Definitely. Okay, I get that. We don't make that stuff up, like Boeing tells us that stuff as well.
It's all from the manufacturer, between the manufacturer, the airline and CASA.
Yep.
They sort of roll out between them.
How fantastic. Mate, how's coronavirus been for you?
Yeah, it's been interesting.
You had much time off due to it?
Yeah, a little bit. We're doing a few rotations here.
Yep.
I'm probably one of the more luckier guys.
Yep.
I've had 3 months on.
Yep.
Some guys have 3 months off.
Yep.
But yeah, long story short, it's not going to change in the near future, I don't think.
Yeah. I reckon West Australia is probably one of the better places to be.
Absolutely. The mining sector here has definitely kept us afloat. I think the bosses were saying something like 70% of the flying in the network is done here, just in interstate.
Yes, mate. Might be time for us to secede.
That's it.
Mate, thanks, Heath. Good on you, man. Cheers.
Don't worry.
Co-pilot's Dan. He's ex-Coast Watch, an absolute gun, so I'm in good hands with him and the flight deck. And my CSM, I'm very fond of her, is Angela, and I've been calling her Angela all day and all yesterday, and the only thing is, her name's not Angela. It's actually Rachel. Don't I feel like an idiot? Very quiet, normal departure with a very light passenger load, so hardly anybody to cover the overwing exits. The cross runway was closed, but we anticipated that. The FO was all over that, and we did a flap one takeoff. With flap one takeoffs, they're a little bit new, a little bit non-normal to what we were used to for decades, so we use an aid memoir of putting our quick reference handbook up on the dash to remind us we're doing a slightly different takeoff.
Flowing beneath these waves, our grip is holding as we lay, drifting through the haze, sun-blinded focus, you're churning seas, blue skies stay open. We'll see the haze drifting while we wait. Why do we ever wait for what they promise? Why do we ever change for what they wanted? How could you slip away and down to the bottom, down to the bottom? Tried to hold on as great hearts on each other like we'd never, until the skies came open and we escaped to see the brand new day. Why do we ever wait for what they promise? Why do we ever change for what they wanted? How could you sleep?
Well, 3.5 hours later, we're up and down. It's a gorgeous day up here. That's one of the things I like most about flying. We took off out of a 10 degrees, quite misty Perth, broke clear of the clouds, gorgeous day all the way up, and warm 26 degrees up here, and fantastic scenery on the way in. Northern Territory, what a place. As soon as those borders are all down, everyone should start travelling. Done my bit for tourism. I've just finished my walk around. Normally after a walk around here in Darwin, after a 3.5 hour flight, we go inside. There's the Dome Cafe, and I get a couple of coffees for the tech crew and cabin crew if they want it, and then jump back in. But today we're denied because unfortunately quarantine restrictions mean that'll all be too hard. So we'll have to drink the aircraft coffee, which I'm told is good.
Why do we ever wait for what they promise? Why do we ever change for what they wanted? How could you slip away and down to the bottom, and down to the bottom? You learn to say it's okay when you don't know, when you don't know. It's when we made it okay. That's when we find out how good it
Yeah, that'll do.